Hey, what's up, you guys?
There it is.
Happy Friday. I can't believe that it's almost 2023. It's like so Q4. Next week is Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I can't believe it. What happened? It was just June. I don't understand. Anyway, it's good to see you guys. Happy Friday. And I'm here with, well, you guys, I'm here with just Ryan, apparently, according to the Zoom screen.
Yes.
Come on.
I'm here with my friends, Ryan and David. I've known these guys for a long time. They're awesome. They just exited their business and they have just done incredible things. They grew super fast. And they did it all by creating these really cool, unique spreadsheets. And yeah, they just created a new one, and we're going to unveil it today because this is the coolest way, what they've done with this sheet. It's the coolest way to manage your inventory and prevent stockouts and all of that. Like it's very simple, yet it's complex, but you didn't have to do any of the Excel sheets programming work. These guys figured it out. So anyway, we're going to talk about that today. And I want to hear from you guys in the crowd here. I want to hear, what are your troubles with inventory, right? What are your troubles of staying in stock? Like, what are your troubles with making sure you're placing new orders on time? We want to hear from you, and we can even make this sheet even better, with all that. So without further ado, I want to introduce Ryan and Dave and really let them introduce themselves, because there's no way I could brag about these guys all day long. So guys, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you and your seller journey?
Yeah, we'll just do a quick recap. So I'm Dave.
I'm Ryan.
He's Ryan. So officially, I'm an airline pilot. I fly an Airbus 350, really fun aircraft. And one day I decided, hey, I'm going to start a side hustle. I'm going to start an Amazon business. And about a year in, Ryan actually joined the team. And that's when COVID hit. So we had quite a lot of free time. He's a scientist.
Yeah, I was doing science, like hardcore molecular biology. And
Amy, did you know it's actually Dr. Ryan Sherrard? Did you know that? No one knows that.
Not the PhD kind of doctor, not like the doctor.
I need you to work on the mustache then.
I know, Dr. Ryan. Yeah, so every time I'm flying and we have like a medical emergency and someone's like, is there a doctor on board? He's like, I'm a doctor.
You know what? I would probably be better at landing the plane.
Yeah. Let's get back to business. So we started an Amazon business. Ryan joined the team. Through our unique skills from our personal lives, we were able to actually scale our business really fast. Our first year, we had a revenue of 73,000. Second year, 3.1 million. And the third year, we're en route to do 5 million. We did 2.5 million in the first 6 months, and then we exited the business. So it's been an incredible journey. We learned a lot along the way. And
definition of a whirlwind, I think. Like, did not expect this 2 years ago, but wouldn't change it for the world. I've essentially left science behind, or at least for now, and just embracing this new chapter of e-commerce. I'm loving it.
I don't think you left science behind. You utilized your scientific brain to track every aspect of your business. And the cool thing about it was you guys shared your journey along the way. And you really nailed things down, and you grew very, very fast. And every time you developed something that helped you with your business, you shared it. And it's just so cool. Like, I'm so excited to have you guys as just such an awesome part of the Amazing at Home community, but also to help people meet you and see what you've done, because it's just so cool. When you guys said you reached $1 million in, what was it, 1 month?
We did $1 million in 5 days.
$1 million in 5 days. I remember, okay, you had a goal for $1 million a month, and you got to $1 million a month. And then you were like, can we do $1 million in a week?
Can we do $1 million in a week? Yeah, we're like, can we do $1 million in a week? Like, we would just challenge. So I think the one of the reasons for our success is we're buddies. So we don't take ourselves too seriously, but everything we do, we take seriously, because in his job, if he doesn't take his experiments seriously, he's wasting government funds. Science doesn't work if you don't take seriously. If I don't take my job seriously, I mean, things can happen. As an airline pilot, you got to take it seriously. But life's too short to be serious all the time. So we like to enjoy ourselves. We like to joke around. And because we're buddies, we would challenge each other to crazy things. And as a matter of fact, that's kind of how the Excel thing started too. So Ryan, as a mad scientist, I mean, you should see his desktop. There are about like 40,000 folders.
Polar opposites here.
Polar mine is clean. I have one image on it. I absolutely hate it if it's messy. If we would have to work on something, I'd be like, hey, Ryan, we got to figure out some numbers for like the next purchase order. He would create this Excel sheet that had numbers everywhere scattered. And then, you know,
but it made sense to me.
It made sense. But he would close it. It would disappear in his computer somewhere. Sometimes it'd be deleted accidentally. And we'd have to restart every time from the beginning. And I'm like, look, Ryan, there must be a better way to do it. And the one way I was able to convince them that we should have a system that is so beautiful that we want to reuse over and over again was that we should make sheets that we could actually sell to other people. If they're that pretty that we could sell it to someone else, one, we're going to want to reuse them, and two, we'll never lose them again. Yeah. And that was the start of our like spreadsheet business on the side, which was really funny.
I love it. You know, people say the whole world is built on Excel, you know, and it's kind of true. And really, it was one of the key tools to like build our business the way that we did. Like you see complex softwares out there and people wondering, how do I analyze this data? And we're just like, man, if you know how to use Excel properly, it's a powerful tool that's available to everybody. So we just use it as best we could.
And I love the sheets you guys have already built. So you guys have already built a bunch of sheets and we've shared them in our mastermind group. You've shared them in our mastermind group and you showed people how you ranked for 3 keywords at a time to page 1 by tracking all of these statistics that you were able to pull in to a sheet. And that was such a brilliant launch and ranking strategy. Like, I just want to tell the world about you guys because that's how you were able to grow to 1 million in a week. I mean, incredible. And you showed us how you applied that research to finding new products, finding keywords. It's really, really powerful the way that you present the data and the way that you use it. So know today that we're going to show this new inventory sheet that came out of a need and some asks from some members who already use your other sheets. But you guys you track profitability, you track everything, your keyword ranking, everything you track in your sheets, and you do it in a way that presents the data in a way that allows people to make key decisions. And you base all of your decisions on data. And I think it's so cool what you guys have built. So I'm excited to be one of the first, I think the first.
I think the first.
Yeah. The first, yeah.
You know,
but you said it so well. Like I think there's so many options out there and you're just inundated with data and it's like, that's cool. Yeah. But it's sometimes so much and you're like, what do I do based on it? And so that's the core of all of our Excel sheets. It's boiling down the data into actions that you can take, like simple actions that you understand. And when you just start using these Excel sheets like once a week and get into a routine, your business just slowly becomes automated and it becomes a lot easier to manage. And especially just as 2 guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And Amy, sorry.
Tell me, you guys, let's get into the demo. But before we do, you guys said something before we went live. You said, this is why small businesses have an advantage over bigger businesses. Small private label brands, they have an advantage over bigger ones. And tell me why do small businesses have an advantage in your opinion over some of these bigger brands that are dominating?
So I kind of see it as like the David versus Goliath story, right? And to be honest, as a small company, we would never be able to compete with an ad spend of a huge company. There's just no way. They have money going at it. So what we have to do is figure out, okay, if we have a smaller ad budget, we got to make sure that we're extremely precise with our ad spend. We got to put it to use at the right time. And, you know, these big companies, they will have departments that run the company. So you might have the team that runs the PPC. You might have the team that's just in charge of restocking Amazon. And if they don't talk to each other on a regular basis, then what might happen is that even though you're running low on inventory, they're actually still pumping PPC money at it because they think, well, that's what I've always been doing. The numbers look good, so I pump it. And they don't have an overview. And as a small business, 2 people, 3 people, even as a solo business, your advantage is you can look at everything at once. So it's essentially like, you know, a big corporation, they all have many little puzzle pieces. And once a week, they have to get together and put the puzzle pieces together to see the big picture. Yeah. You might have a smaller puzzle piece, but that puzzle piece is the entire picture. Okay, so you can manage your business way more efficiently than a big corporation. And that's essentially Why in our business, we had a sheet, it was called our life force. Because
so good.
Literally, it was a custom built sheet just for our brand with all our products, all our SKUs. We'd be able to see the variation split. We'd be able to monitor our cash flow, because we took $1 million loan. I mean, imagine two guys with no e-com background in year 2 said, we're going all in, and we took a funding for $1 million because that's the only way we were able to scale so quick. And, you know, the repayments for that would be, let's say, $60,000 every 2 weeks. If you don't have 60, and sometimes more, right? That would just be like a base payment. So big numbers. And we had to make sure our cash flow game was tight as well. Now, when we exited the business, you know, we're in different masterminds, and we love connecting with other e-commerce sellers. And people would say like, hey, Dave, Ryan, can you guys build us a life force? And we're like, you know what, that would be a custom sheet for each individual brand. I think it'd be too hard. And then, you know, Ryan and I being buddies and having a couple beers, and we're like, can we do it? And he's like, I think I can figure out the math. So Ryan, he's figuring out the math on how to make a forecasting tool that works for all products. And he cracked it. And then we said, okay, let's see if we can build a sheet. And that was the start. And, you know, that's how we started.
I haven't left the house in 5 weeks, Amy.
It's been a long time.
You guys, we actually have our first question, and then we'll get into this to show.
And then we'll show it.
Amazing sheet, and you guys are going to be blown away. Like, you're going to be blown away. So Thrifty 50s says, this is huge with Analytics 4 coming out. I'll have to take a look at your other sheets on the mastermind. I didn't want to forget my question. Did you monetize mostly from those Excel sheets or the shop itself via SEO? Cool that you're sharing your story. Thank you. Hashtag I need to find a scientist.
Everyone needs their own data, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the funny thing is, like, monetizing the spreadsheets, I don't think we've ever made any real money off it. You know, we sold a couple sheets, but it was never our main business. Our main business was always selling on Amazon. And that's what kind of made it hard, because we had to say, where are we going to put our time and energy on? And, you know, we can make so much money on selling.
I think the question is actually, though, in your Amazon, in your e-commerce business, did you monetize using mostly the sheets or via SEO with your shop? Like, how did you?
Got it.
How did you grow your business that fast? Do you think it was mostly in the sheets, or do you think it was in actually like applying SEO and stuff that you were tracking on the sheets?
I mean, it has to be both.
It's connected, right?
Yeah. I mean, the sheets made it possible to take actions on SEO.
Yeah.
And then SEO growing the sales made it, you know, that needed to be tracked somehow. And that's what we use the sheets for. So the two really went hand in hand.
And to be honest, like, when we went for $1 million loan, we're a young company. We don't have a lot of sales history. We showed them our forecasting tools, and we sold ourselves to that funding company. And they said, hey, these guys, it appears they know what they're doing. They have a solid system in place. They've proven it over the last couple of months. And they're willing to take a bigger leap of faith on us for the $1 million because we had those sheets, right? So I honestly think without the sheets, we wouldn't have been able to grow that fast. And I mean, Amy, you know this too. As you grow, your headaches grow. You know, you were sitting at the beginning of the call, oh my God, it's already Q4. And it's like, imagine when you had, like, we grew during COVID, disaster for logistics, right? At one point, we had 6 containers crossing the ocean at once, you know, in 2 different timelines, but a month apart. And it was a massive headache. And you have to stay on top of all those numbers. Where's my inventory? How many do I need? What am I selling at? Can I repay my loan? And none of that is possible without tracking them in some sort of system. And the nice thing is we were able to do it in one simple sheet. It's not simple, but it's one sheet.
Yes. Ryan's looking at you like, simple.
Simple.
Working on this for how long?
The necessity for this sheet, I think part of it comes from, you know, it's a forecasting tool, and Amazon, just what we've seen from Amazon selling seasonal products, Amazon just plain out sucks at forecasting. They've recently, I think if you go to your restock inventory page for some of your SKUs, you're able to actually see now the forecast that Amazon has for you for the next 12 months. And I'll never forget, I found it a couple of weeks ago, and I went to our most popular product where we sold 10,000 units last Mother's Day. And what does Amazon think we're going to sell next Mother's Day? 700. 700. And that's
Totally
they're
wrong.
optimistic. Totally wrong. And the thing is, they're going to base our inventory restock limits on that number. And so it's just completely false. And so we had to build our own forecasts and take that into account and ignore Amazon's forecasting completely for our products.
Yeah.
So we don't want to waste too much time.
That's why they're down.
Let's dive right in, eh?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, in Thrifty 50s, while you're sharing your screen, it says that's why they're down 65% in the stock market.
Right. They gotta forecast better. I mean, it's so crazy to me, right? Like they grew so much during COVID and they got all these warehouses and everything. And now they're giving restock limits and not letting people use that space. I think it's crazy.
I love it.
Anyway.
Okay, excited.
We're in. So what Ryan and I really tried to do was to make, this is our beta version. So it's absolutely free. Anyone can use it right now. It's on trial basis because we got to find out if there's any little Excel bugs, right? Excel is very buggy sometimes and it's difficult. There's a lot of info in here.
Wait,
so you can get
did
it
you just say
absolutely free.
it's free right now for anyone?
Yeah, it's absolutely free. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, we might be crazy. We might be crazy.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get it out free because of Karen and our buddies that begged us for the sheet, and we really want to help them out. The nice thing is you can use it now for free. It's a 30-day trial. So we can get feedback from, hey, look, this would be a cool feature. Can you guys add that? And then we'll release like the full version. The math in here is 100% correct because that's the only thing we double check. But there might be like some conditional formatting, coloring that might still be off. But give us your feedback, use the sheet. The nice thing is now it's Q4, so use it for Q4 and also take a look at like your reordering for Q1 and you'll be amazed at how simple this makes all of that. So
I love it.
we made it extremely simple.
Let's dive in now.
You do 5 simple steps. You pull 2 reports from Amazon and the rest is done. And then we'll show you how to do it.
Just to note, so this is as of now only compatible with Amazon.com marketplace. So it can only use data from there. Just take note of that. But yeah, as Dave said,
Ryan, move it to the other market.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know. We will. It's just shifting around some formulas, and I'm gonna miss Christmas, aren't I? Yeah. Yeah. So very simple. As Dave said, 5 simple steps. So when you first open the sheet, you just have to click the Update Now button, and when you click that, you get brought to this page, and this is where you get to build your own personal sales trends. You know, I don't know if it sounds sexy, but it is sexy to us because, like I said, Amazon, we don't trust their trends. We want to be able to build our own. And so I'll zoom in here just so the viewers can see a little bit better. Essentially, what you do is you get to put in your own holidays that you expect peaks for your products. And so, for example, you've seen we put up here Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, back to school, Halloween, Christmas next year. So we're already able to forecast that far ahead. And all you have to do is put in the dates of when the peak starts, and then the date where the peak actually, peaks. And for most holidays, I think for all holidays, this is never the actual holiday. So for Valentine's Day, it's not February 14th. It's usually 3 to 4 days earlier. Or for Christmas, it's not the 25th, it's the 17th. So you just have to do a little bit of market research, look at your competitors, look at their sales data from last year, or even better, look at your own sales data from last year, just to find out when these holidays start and when the peak occurs.
And we make it super easy. So when we started out, we didn't have our own data, right? So what we had to do was use our competitors' data because we're just trying to determine the marketplace trends. So let me just show you here an example of how we would use Helium 10. So here you can go on Helium 10, use X-ray on any competitor that was in stock last year during the holiday. And you would see their sales graph is down here. That's a really nice even baseline. So you can see a baseline for us is how many average units per day do they sell. So on a regular Tuesday with no peaks, no holidays, on an average Tuesday, they sell about 127. That would be the number that I use as my baseline on the competitor. I can see if I zoom in here, it slowly starts to ramp up at around November 1st. And it goes all the way up. On the biggest day, we see if we go down, it was December 17th. That's my peak day. And I see they sold 1875. On the sheet, we have this multiplier. So you can just take your own calculator, but you can just
this was the most complex calculator on the whole sheet.
It's just a division, guys.
Yeah.
So you put in the peak units, you put in the baseline, and it'll tell you that this product in this niche does a 14.8 multiplier to their baseline. Now, even if you're new to the market and you're like, yeah, but I'm never going to sell 127 when I start. No, you're not. But if you sell, let's make the math easy. If you sell 1 a day, then what we're saying is on your biggest day, you're going to do 14.8 units, or we'll say 15 units.
And I think that's the power behind this Helium 10. Like people, all this data is there at your fingertips. Go analyze your competitors and figure out what your peak is for the holidays. And it allows you to then forecast your own sales, even with no history of your own.
And then what we would do is we would look at like 3 or 4 competitors and try to take about the average multiplier for the niche, right? And then we have a multiplier for the marketplace, which is good to know. There's a couple things, like if you're analyzing it, obviously we would want to, prevent if there's a competitor who had a massive stock out, or someone who ran out of stock way too early on December 2nd, and we know Christmas is, later in the month, then we wouldn't use their data. Some of them would have an anomaly. So we say, okay, there's enough products out there, use Helium 10 or other tools, maybe, we don't know. Ryan and I always use Helium 10, and you can at least get their data. So all you do is at the beginning, you put in these trends. And the nice thing is on the sheet, you can change them at any time. You can adjust them. If, after Christmas this year, you might now have your.
What if I don't have a super seasonal product? What if I'm selling a supplement that's pretty normal all year round? Of course, I'm going to have a few peak days, but if my product is pretty consistent and my competitors are pretty consistent, do I need to do this forecasting? Or maybe I just, like for Q4 season, I forecast the entire season and put that in there. What's the answer for that one?
Okay, so really good question. Let's say back to school. So let's pretend our catalog. So here's another thing the sheet does. Obviously, in your catalog of products, they're not all going to follow the same sales trend. So for example, if we have holiday gifts, they might have a really big Christmas peak, Valentine's Day peak, Mother's Day peak. But back to like office school supplies, let's say, they might only have a peak in August, leading up to September back to school. So what we could do is in that case, leave it blank. So there's no peak. We're just baseline sales. And then it has that one peak in September back to school. And then you can even say, I have Halloween products, let's say. These guys don't have any peaks, but maybe at around Halloween, they'll have a massive peak, right? We actually looked that up and it was 270 of the baseline, which was insane.
Absolutely insane, yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
because throughout the year, they're selling 2-3 a day. And then at leading up to Halloween, they go up to 1,000 a day. So,
but even if you sell supplements, like you said, Amy, you might not see these huge multipliers, but you're still going to see small peaks, like you said, over Christmas or these holidays.
Just because of New Year's, when everybody's trying to get healthy.
New Year's would be huge. Q1, yeah. But exactly. So each product's going to have its own. And like Dave said, this sheet allows you to build up to 3 completely independent trend lines if you're able to separate your whole catalog into different category types. And then supplements, for example, on any product is always going to benefit from a Black Friday, a Cyber Monday, a Prime Day. And our sheet also allows you to put in dates for those down below. We call them shopping events. You can see them on the bottom half of this page. So shopping events are a little bit different. They're not, these big holiday peaks that ramp up slowly, peak, and then drop off slowly. Shopping events are, I don't know what Dave's doing right now.
I'm showing you the shopping events.
Oh, there you go.
Keep talking, Ryan. I got this. Here, look.
Yeah, so perfect. So holiday peaks, have a ramp up and ramp down, but shopping events are just, you're running a coupon. And so for like only 5 days, you see an immediate increase. And then after 5 days, it drops off, or Black Friday, Cyber Monday, these kind of days. And so I think supplements or any product is going to have these kind of days if you plan on running coupons or even just selling during.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest troubles with marketing, running extra marketing is that you don't plan that into your inventory. So now you can say, okay, we're going to run special deals at Christmas. We're going to, get a little bit more sales during that time with that extra deal, or we're running a launch promotion. Let's forecast that.
And I think one of the biggest, or one of the main reasons Dave and I had some really successful peaks is because if you just are on your own accord and thinking like, oh yeah, I think at Christmas we could sell 600. What do you think?
That sounds really good. Yeah.
And then you actually look at the numbers and it says, no, you're going to sell,
30,000.
Yeah.
And honestly,
you're like, no, that can't be. And then you just,
trust the numbers.
You trust the numbers. You go to your supplier, like, we need 30,000. And then you actually hit the numbers because you actually did the research and you didn't go out of stock. So you're in stock on the peak days when all your other competitors are out of stock, and you're just winning all the sales organically. Even sometimes it's the power behind properly forecasting your sales instead of just guessing at it.
So Amy, think about it. Our normal 5-day period, we would do about $10,000 in 5 days, because our average sales would be, let's say, 2,000 a day. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then on Mother's Day, the 5 days, we did $1 million. And if you would have asked us to do that blindly and just say a number, we couldn't do it. It's insane, right? I don't think our brain was able to comprehend that magnitude, but we trusted our sheet. And then if you trust the numbers, then, you know, you'll stay in stock. And we saw so many competitors just fall out of stock. And then we're the only ones left standing. And, you know, we're able to almost turn off PPC and go all organic because there's no other competitors in stock. So really, really helpful. To summarize this page before I move on, I just want to show you what we would do if we had a supplement that didn't have a holiday peak. We would put in supplement, we would still give it a Christmas peak, but a very small one, maybe just 1.5, right? So we could say like, okay, look, it's just going to have the whole marketplace Q4, people are shopping, it'll see an increase. And then I would just do these shopping events along the way, right? So supplements here, if I run a coupon, we'll expect 3x sales on that day, for example.
Again, this is all research you can do on your competitors.
Yeah.
To really take the time to do that, because this is going to form the foundation of the entire sheet. So after you've built these peaks and put in your multipliers, you're actually able to, hold on, I'm just gonna go back. Okay, sorry. You're able to actually scroll through and visualize the peaks that you just built. So if we get into Christmas now, you can see that the sheet starts building your peaks for you. So you can see today is this green line across. You can see the forecast that you've built for your holiday products, your back to school products, and your Halloween. And you can actually see over on the side here, your actual daily sales on a unit on a revenue basis, plus your forecasted units and your sales every day moving forward.
Yeah. So anyway, we know there's a lot of data
So
here,
much.
but this is just step one. So step one, we want to make sure that we have our trends in. You can come back and edit that at any time. So nothing's ever locked in forever. So let's just go ahead and we'll confirm these trends. And then the next thing we would do is we would obviously just enter our SKUs into the sheet, because this sheet has to know what SKUs are we tracking. So to do that, you just click enter SKUs. You're able to enter your SKUs. Now, some people, when they name their SKUs, they're super long and complicated, or they're just auto-generated from Amazon. So what you can actually do is you can provide it like a nickname so that later on when you see it in the sheet, you know which product you're referring to. The cool thing is we allowed it to actually, you can assign it to a parentage. That'll be useful later when we sort through the data. You might just want to look at that one certain parentage. And then what you have to do is you have to assign it to one of those 3 trends that you just built, right? So before we called it, let's say the holiday trend, we had the back to school trend and the Halloween trend. So once you fill it in, you just confirm it. And then now's the fun part. Now we actually have to upload the reports from Seller Central. So if you click the first link, it's going to take you to Seller Central and you're able to download the restock report, right? So it's super simple. Just click the link, it'll open Seller Central. And then when you click on here, it would actually open up a window where you can import the sheet, all fully automated, right? So those are some macros.
The next step is pulling another report. This is called your all orders report. It's a history of all the orders on Amazon. So same as the last step, you can go to Seller Central to download it and then click on this button to import it. So just 2 reports and this
Okay,
sheet
so you're
essentially ready to go.
actually, step 1, you're downloading the report. And then when you click the import button, it's going to pull that report into the sheet.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you don't have to manually do any of that.
Cool.
And it'll check everything, make sure it's the right report. You have to pull 30 days range here. It'll tell you, okay, you got enough data. If there's anything missing, it'll give you a warning. So there's a lot of warnings along the way to make sure that you do it 100% right. But it's all simple because you just follow the buttons, right? So let's say, so we did all that. So I'll just skip this step for now. Sorry, Zoom was in the way. Okay, so, and the last step, this is also where you want to do a bit of manual work, is you want to update some other inventory that you might have, right? So the reports you pull from Amazon will obviously only tell you, where's my inventory that's at Amazon. But you might have 3PLs, right? So the sheet allows you to enter up to 5 different 3PLs in case you have it, right? We always had 2 3PLs. So you can call it 3PL1, 3PL2, you can give it names, you can change it. And then you enter in on the SKU level, how many units of that SKU are at the 3PL. And then you can say, okay, I have a shipment on the water. So what Ryan and I would actually do is we would put, let's say, instead of calling a shipment 1, either the container number in there, or we would put the expected arrival date in there. So anytime one of us would look at the sheet, we'd be like, oh yeah, we're expecting that to dock on that date. And how many SKUs are on the ship is essentially. So we keep track of how many are on the water. Now it's in transit, but we're not talking about in transit to Amazon. We're literally talking about like from your manufacturer to your 3PL. And the last column is how many are in production right now. So you just put in how many SKUs are you producing right now, and that'll give you a nice total of where's the inventory in my entire supply chain.
Even just having this tab in your business is powerful, because usually these data points are spread across several different spreadsheets, but now they get to live in one place.
Yeah, and all we would do is when I come in here, if I would have to update something or Ryan would have to update it, he would say, okay, you know what, this ship docked and it ended up at 3PL1. He would then, delete these numbers because they're no longer in transit. And then he would, put them in here and at the 3PL. And then we just confirm the inventory. So everything's confirmed and it says you're all set. And that's all you have to do. And now you get this nice, simple overview. It looks a bit complicated, but we'll walk you through it. It's simple. It's a dashboard. And there's so many actionable items that you can take from this. And we just want to share like maybe 2 or 3 highlights that we like to do. And then, but there's tons. And it's like, here's the information, and now, find out your own strategies and tricks based on that information.
Yeah. So to start,
why don't you tell them how it works, like
yeah.
without all the formulas?
So essentially, from the reports that you uploaded, we're looking at your last 30 days of sales. So we're telling you, okay, here's your last 30 days from October 18th, November 16th. To give you an idea of your historical range there. So we're going to present some just basic stats from that window. But what we're also going to do is forecast into the future based on the sales trends that you built earlier on the sales trend page. How long into the future? Well, you're able to say that. Right now we have 45 days. That's a good time frame that we used to say, let's always make sure we're in stock at FBA for the next 45 days. So that's what we would put in here. We would also add a buffer just to be sure in case sales were maybe a bit better than we expected. We just didn't want to go out of stock. So we might put in here, for example, a 10% buffer just for safety. Once you put that in, that's essentially it. You can now go back and start looking at some data that the sheet presents. So over here on the left-hand side are your SKUs, your ASINs, your product names. Here's the product nicknames that you gave them before. A couple cool features here too. If you click on the product name, it'll take you to the product listing page. If you click on the little arrow next to the SKU, that'll take you to the SKU page on Amazon, which has a lot of great information about the SKU as well.
I mean, they seem like small little features, but you know how often we use it? Like if we wanted to be like, here, yeah, the current sales price is $39.95. I forgot that we lowered the price. Let me look at the listing. And then, oh yeah, we ran a coupon, or we're currently running a promotion, and oh look, we have more reviews, right? So it's a very quick shortcut when you're managing your business. You can just stay in the sheet.
Yeah. So this first module here, this total sales, it's more just an overview of some of your key data. Like Dave said, your current sales price, your last 30 days revenue per SKU, very powerful to know. And then what the sheet estimates you're going to do for the next 45 days, or if you put in a different number, the next 30 days, it's completely up to you what number you put in here, and it will just automatically adjust the forecasting.
And that's so powerful, Amy, for cash flow, right? Like if you're trying to figure out how much money am I going to be able to pay my bills? You can type it in now, you see it follows the trends, and then you have the number right in front of you.
There's little arrows above every column, and so you're actually able to sort. They've built these. These are sorting arrows. You can actually click these arrows and it will sort a column. So right now I'm sorting by the SKUs that make up the highest percentage of our overall revenue. So you can see right here, SKU 6 makes up 16% of our revenue. So it's essentially the hero product of this catalog. And then you can scroll down and see all your SKUs from there.
And I love how you're also showing it in units, because, yes, I can forecast revenue, but what does that mean? How many units am I going to sell? And so you've got the baseline estimated units per day. And then over the last 30 days, you sold 700. So it kind of helps. And then estimated over the next 45 days, 7,000, I guess, because that is in a peak season. So
exactly. And that's really nice, Amy. Let's actually make them both 30. And I'm not even going to put a buffer, but because we are going into Christmas, you can see the difference, right? In the last 30 days, only 762. And if you were just say, okay, I'm going to double up my sales during Q4, I'm just going to take my average and double it. And we've seen, some other sellers, that's literally how they do forecasting. They just say, whatever an average month is at Christmas time, I'm going to double it. And that's such a poor way of thinking, as you're going to, it's a exponential growth. And humans, it's so hard for us to think exponential, right? Like I know we all know that story of the chessboard with the rice pieces, or the like $1 a day, and then you'd be richer than
Yeah,
ever.
you know, I've had so many clients come to me and say, Amy, I need to sell $10,000 a month of this product, for example. And I'm like, oh, okay, what are you basing that on? Right? Like, well, this competitor is selling, you know, this much. And I'm like, and then I look at the competitor and they're like the top competitor in the space, right? And they've got like 20,000 reviews and this person has 50, you know, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, you can pick some of their sales, but you should pick somebody who's a little bit of a closer competitor to you. And you should look for those keyword opportunities, right? And you shouldn't just assume that you can, like, I want to, you know, and sometimes there's not even space in that market at all. Like somebody will come to me and say, I want to sell $20,000 a month in this. And it's like, okay, did you study the market? Because there's actually not a competitor even doing anywhere close to that.
No.
So what are you basing that on, right? So it's so important, like you guys said, use the data, look at your competitors, but don't just look at the top seller, right? If you just launched and they're not really a close competitor, look at a few different data sets, do some estimations, and use the data to make you more confident about what you should be ordering. And then using a spreadsheet like this, you can actually estimate when you need to order it from, you know, your suppliers. You can keep track of your purchase orders. You can keep track of inbound. You can keep track of everything that's in stock. I mean, it's a good way
you know
to
what,
stay
let's
on top of it.
get that to that point right away. One last thing, actually, what you were saying about the competitors, it's so true. And not just the competitors, but the market in general. So last year, it was still COVID bubble a little bit. And if you're literally to take just, okay, last year's numbers, and I'm going to do the same thing this year plus 10% increase in growth, hopefully, because e-commerce is growing a little bit. Well, you know, the marketplace might have changed. Competitors might have come into your niche. This sheet will take it's a moving sheet. So the forecast always moves based on your real sales. So if your product gets a new bad competitor coming in that's really giving you a run for your money, and your baseline drops a bit, this will adjust. It will adjust because it lowers your baseline. So then it follows the trend and it tells you, you know what, just run a profitable company. Don't order too much. The marketplace changed. You don't need 50 a day anymore. You only need 30 a day. There's a new competitor. Okay, so this forecasting lives. All right, moving along.
Yeah, so we get into a bit more the heart of the sheet. And for example, for people who do FBM, Dave and I did a little bit, but if you have a lot of FBM sales, this will summarize how many units a day you sell in FBM overall and per SKU, how many you sold last 30 days, and what we estimate the next 30 days to be. So it does the same thing for FBA as well, just a breakdown of your FBA sales. If, for example, you have a product that you just launched that doesn't yet have an established baseline, you're able to put in a manual baseline. So if we go down to some of these other products down here, you might see like, oh, it has a baseline of zero units a day. That's because this product just launched a week ago. So you have to make an educated decision here to say, okay, I'm not going to forecast with a baseline of zero. I'm going to forecast with a baseline of 3 units a day. And then the sheet will take that into consideration and override the existing baseline with your manual. So there is a little bit of wiggle room here. You can manually override some things.
But do you know how powerful that is, Amy? A lot of people say like, oh, I got to launch in Q4. How many units do I need? And it's so nice, even during, you know, when you're placing your very first purchase order, that you come in here and you put in a manual number and you say, I think I'm going to sell 3 a day on a regular day. You put in your sales trends and it'll draw out the graph. And now you can make an educated decision on how many orders you have to place if you're launching in Q4.
Yeah. Very
to avoid
smart.
out of stocks. So, and then the real fun. So what the sheet now does, and you kind of teased this a bit before, Amy, is saying, you know, we know how many units we're going to need. Do I have enough at FBA? Do I have to send them in? Where are they in my thing? What I'm going to do is put it back to 45 days because that's what Ryan and I would like to use. I'll add the 10% buffer just because that's what we did. So make it as realistic as possible. Now, if you take a look here, it says, and you know what, I'm going to clean this up for us. Look at this. There's a parentage drop down, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to focus on the holiday gifts right now. If I click holiday gifts, it'll actually clean it up. All the SKUs that before I entered saying these belong to the parentage holiday gifts. Okay, so I'm looking at the holiday gifts. It cleans it up a bit. And I just want to analyze these for a little bit. I'm going to actually say, okay, these are the estimated units that I'm going to sell in the next 45 days. And here it says I'm going to sell 274. Total at FBA, I have 608. So it's not red. Everything looks good. I have plenty. It'll actually tell you that days of stock remaining is 186. So this one's actually a bit overstocked. It'll stay, the out of stock date will be the 21st of May next year. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by days of stock remaining. Okay. And I can see, a couple leaders are red. They're going to run out of stock in 19 days. Okay. And these are real numbers. So this company has to restock this SKU. We're going to run out of stock by December 5th.
Before the Christmas peak even hits its biggest numbers.
Even hits. Yeah. Okay. So this is an example of like an actionable thing that you can just, we would do once a week, upload our reports and make sure that we always have enough stocks for 45 days. Okay. Very actionable, very quick. 45 days, sort by out of stock, nothing should be red. That means you're always.
And the guide walks me through that I need to be uploading these things once a week and all of that, because you know, you guys were saying like, we would do this once a week. How do I know if I'm using this spreadsheet for the first time? How do I know how often to upload my reports, where to make updates? Is that all in the guide?
So it's all in the guide. I mean, the nice thing is you can do it on a daily basis if you want. Sometimes we actually would, because, you know, we love this kind of stuff and we'd be in it because it shows you so much more. So instead of just saying, okay, what's the next 45 days? There's another really cool thing. I'm going to see if I can simulate like a case scenario that sometimes happens. What I'm going to do is I just want to look at the next 14 days. Okay, this is cool. I'm going to have to select all the SKUs again to try to find one. Let's see if I can find one. And what I want to do, yeah, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to sort by avail. So what you just saw here on the sheet, what I can do is I can actually open, it's a plus button on top. It'll ungroup it. And these are my total units at FBA. But we know that units that are FBA, they might be in different parts of FBA. They might be an FC transfer. They might be available to buy. So if you just focus on what's at FBA, you're lying to yourself, to be honest. So we got to do a smaller, like a deeper dive. Now let's take a look at this SKU, for example. On top, SKU 44, it says it has 1,000 at FBA, but there's 0 available. There's not even any in FC transfer. They're only inbound, right? So this person created a shipping plan and said, okay, they're inbound, but they haven't even arrived, right? So it's super important. But the case I wanted to highlight was actually, let me take a look at this one. This one's really good. Holiday gift 17, SKU 17, look at this. So it says, estimated units in the next 14 days, I'm going to sell 46 of these. So in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to sell 46 of this SKU. If I were just to look at FBA, it says, hey, you have 201 in there. That's good. But if I look closer, I only have 41 available. Okay, so that's really tight. And the 160 that are inbound, there's only 16 in receiving. The 144 are still being shipped. Like they're somewhere, UPS picked them up, but they haven't even been checked in yet. Okay, and I mean, this one will almost get you there. So that's 46 sales that you're expecting. There's 41 available. So that's pretty close. But there's another one here where you have like, you're expecting to sell 92 and there's only 53 available. And available is that status where the customer can buy it with Prime, right? It'll ship immediately. It's available for sale.
Right.
So that's one use case where it's like, you don't have to update it once a week. You can update it daily. And what we would do is we would base our PPC strategy on this available number. So there's absolutely no point pushing PPC harder if they're not even in receiving yet, or they're still in transfer, right? So when I was telling you before that small companies have an advantage over big companies, it's because a big company would see, I have 200 at FBA. I'm only going to sell 46. Keep gunning her. Lots of PPC. And that's
it's like, no, you have 41 available right now. And why not tune down PPC, make this profit a little more profitable, wait until those other units check in.
Yeah.
Smart.
It's
very smart.
Right?
I'm going to collapse this now so we can get, and I'm going to take this back to the 45 days, just so you can see what we're building over here on the side. This is a no-brainer section. Yeah. I'm going to sort by, so this is telling you what to send to Amazon, and I'm going to sort by the number of units here. And so just if you take nothing else away from this sheet, except every Monday morning, wake up, put in your new reports, and then send these to Amazon. And that's literally what Dave and I would, one of our actions that we did every Monday.
We would send that to our 3PL, copy paste to our 3PL, and be like, please send those into Amazon for us.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
That's it. Yeah. And that way we would
And
confirm
that
stock.
send to Amazon numbers is based on the 45-day forecast, how many you've sold, how many is you're estimated to sell, how many are available. You're taking in all of these different aspects of data, and then you're putting that into a number that tells us exactly how many Amazon's going to need in order for you to stay in stock.
And it's making your IPI score. The more and more you use this, the happier, the better your IPR score will probably be, because you are making sure you're only keeping 45 days of inventory in Amazon. And so if you have a problem right now with, overstock and your IPI score is suffering and your restock limits might be coming down because of that, then a little bit more optimization in your inventory and your storage at FBA, the sheet can help.
Yeah. And remember, Amy, they just reduced it. I mean, it's been a month or two now, right? Where long-term inventory fees, it used to be like, if it's there for a year, they start charging more. Now it's 270 days. So they're really charging you a lot more fees. So you don't want to have a problem of being overstocked at FBA. You definitely don't.
Yeah, you definitely want to be seed feeding Amazon as much as you can, especially now, there's so many issues with higher charges, but then also they're going to cut your restock limits significantly if you don't seed feed them at the right times and stay in stock with the right SKUs. Like, it's going to affect how much you can actually sell in the future and how often you're going to have to send in new inventory if you've messed that up right now. So it's best to get it under control in the beginning.
And our 3PL throughout the year was a third of the storage cost of FBA, a third. And they didn't have peak fees. So imagine during the peaks, it was like a ninth. It was insane.
Yeah.
So what the sheet will do too is it'll protect you. And
I've made this mistake.
We've
only twice, but I kicked myself each time I did.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys said, "Oh, I need to send 160 units of this SKU into Amazon"?
Or let's do 432. That one.
430. Oh yeah, true. That's the better one.
Yeah.
So why is it red? You might be asking. Well, okay, I have to send 432 units. Okay, I'll just create the shipment right now. Send it to my 3PL. The next day, my 3PL gets back to me. We don't have 432 units. We only have 192. And then you're like,
oh, no.
Right. Oh, I wish I would have had that number right next to it so I could compare. Well, here you go.
Yeah. Because the thing is, now you have to cancel your shipping plan, right? There might be fees. Like, it's a mess.
So we actually color code the numbers from what this sheet recommends to send it to Amazon. If it's white, if it's white, everything's good. You have that number of units at your 3PL, you can create that shipment. If it's yellow, you don't have that at your 3PL, so you cannot send that in. However, it's yellow because you do have some units upstream. So here what we're showing are the number of units you have in storage at your 3PLs, units in transit, and units in production, the same numbers you entered in earlier. So even though we can't send in 128, we have them in the pipeline. So we're just aware that, okay, eventually those 128 are coming.
And now, actionable item, we got to start thinking about, well, what's the PPC strategy on that? Do I really want to push it hard? When is that ship supposed to dock? Or when is it going to arrive? And, there's different strategies of what to do if you're about to go out of stock. We like to consider it as, how long am I going to be out of stock? If I'm out of stock for 2 weeks, we're going to go full hot and we're going to run out of stock, because within 2 weeks, we're back in stock. But if we're going to go out of stock for like a month or 2 months, we're going to make as much money as possible, because we're going to have to re-rank. And we're going to take the profit from now to re-rank it later.
Mm-hmm. And the final case is if it goes red, not only do you not have enough at your 3PL, but you have none in the upstream pipeline. So, you're going to run out of these. You have to go to your manufacturer and make these. So that's why it's colored red. And that brings us to the final section of this sheet. And just another powerful aspect of the stock flow here is that already it will start building up a purchase order based on your current in-stock and what you're forecasting to sell. It will start building a purchase order for you, and you're able to put in your lead time, your minimum order quantity, your units per carton, these data points, and it's already going to tell you not only how many units to order, but when you need to order it by and how much it's going to cost you.
No,
it's crazy. So what we normally do is we would put 100. I know, Amy, it's so nuts. And like, we're so happy that we finally built this one for everyone. What we would do here, actionable item, I would come in, I would be in charge of placing the orders in China. I would put in, I got to have enough stock, for 180 days because I have 100 days lead time. And then, I want to have 80 days worth at my 3PL at all times. So I'm always just have a buffer and I'm ahead of the game. So you put in, let's say for the sheet, you put 180 days, let's say 10% buffer. And then look at this, I can literally say order date by. And, some of these, they should have already placed the order by because they're going to run out of stock before this arrives. And the nice thing is you come in here and you just, change the dates. So you can do 14 days for available to see like, ooh, are my units actually available in the next 2 weeks? Then you can put in 45 days. Can I send in from my 3PL to Amazon? And you can build your purchase orders by putting in 180 days and just saying copy, paste, send to your manufacturer. I need to make that many.
Okay, but guys, I have a question.
Yeah.
So right now we're showing all of the SKUs. So what if we're not ordering from the same supplier? I have 3 different suppliers for each of my products, actually 4 when you count packaging.
Okay.
So I have different lead times and different MOQs for each of my suppliers. So do I just always have to alter that, or is there a way to override?
Look at this, Amy. So
Oh.
this SKU.
It's almost like we planted that question. It was a little too good.
That was way too good, Amy. That was too good. So you can put this and it'll take it for everything. Or you can say, like you said, you have different manufacturers, different lead times, different MOQs. So let's say this one has an MOQ of 1200, right? And this one, you have 10 units per carton. What it now does is it says the units required according to the sheet are 1600. It optimizes it now for your MOQ and your units per carton. So for example, if I put in now 11 units per carton, it'll actually tell you to order 1595 because that's a perfect multiple of 11.
Got it.
Right? So it'll always optimize it for you and it'll tell you that's 145 carton. The cost, well, you entered in your COGS in the upstream inventory here on the SKU base, right? And that you only really set up once at the beginning. And then if you get back to here, it'll tell you that's how much it's going to cost. We even put in a couple filtering here, so a little colors to get your attention. Now look at this SKU at the bottom. The sheet is recommending that in the next 180 days, you would have to order 46 units because you're going to be shy 46. But if your MOQ is 500 and you have 16 in a carton, to match MOQ in cartons, you would have to order 512. Okay. So now it's in orange to tell you like, look, you didn't make MOQ, make a manual decision. Do you want to place that order now? Or do you just want to slow down sales a bit? Maybe order it, next time. And it highlights it to you so you can make that decision for you.
Got it.
It's
very smart.
automated.
Now, does it actually make my purchase order for me?
So, I mean, you could, right? So what I would do in your situation, I would go to the settings tab, right? Because you can edit this at any time. And what I would do is in the parentage here is I would group them just for that use case by like the parentage by manufacturer. So I would write manufacturer 1, all the SKUs that are manufacturer 1. And now the cool thing is if you come over here and go to the dashboard, you can actually sort by, let's say, manufacturer 1. Let's say we actually did it. That'll print all your manufacturer 1. You can put in the numbers, right? So you don't have to manually override it. And you can see what you have to order. Now, if you don't want to do it so that's one way to do it. If you don't want to do it that way, what's also really cool is we put in obviously a manual purchase order builder.
Oh
okay?
My goodness. Of course you did.
Right. So you can just manually type in the SKU, how many units you want to order, what's the COGS, how many units per carton, and it'll tell you what's the carton and what's the cost.
Very simple.
Very simple. Like it's a very basic calculator that you can just copy paste, send it to your manufacturer.
And I think it's important to say, like, we always say like these are the numbers the sheet is going to tell you. I think rather than follow it blindly, the sheet presents you with a lot of data that you can then take back and discuss with your business partner or with your team and take actions based on the data. And just knowing that it's solid and it's not based on guesswork at all. So yeah, we would look at these numbers once a week and have a hard discussion. What's happening in the next 14 days, the next 45 days, and the next 180 days.
Yeah. And the beauty of doing it every week, remember your baseline as you sell, it adjusts, right? A product becomes hotter and it becomes more profitable and you're like, oh my God, it's finally sticking. Well, guess what? Your baseline increases. You're going to need to order more. This sheet will know that because you just entered the multiplier, right? And then Ryan did all the math for all of us, for the whole world, that entire thing gets upped, okay?
You're welcome.
I like it when you do math for the world, Ryan.
I said I need to get outside more.
I have a hard enough time just calculating my max reps at the gym. Like,
Right? We'll build you an Excel sheet for that, Amy.
But I think that's it. Like we've been through it. When you get into the rhythm and get using this, it becomes second nature and you just make decisions based off these numbers. A lot of it is color coded to make the decision making a little bit easier. But
Do we have time? Can I give you one more really fun use case that we actually had? 2 minutes.
yeah. Let's
Okay,
do
awesome.
it.
So check this out. Restock limits. They suck at Amazon, right?
Yep.
It's so annoying. So let's go back to like, let's say the next 45 days, I want to send in units, right? And what the sheet does is over here, really big, you can see it. In the next 45 days, the sheet is expecting that I need 25,000 units, okay? Total at FBA, I have 36,000. So I actually have more because the person who was using like these numbers, they weren't using the Stockflow long enough. Once you use it long enough, right, the numbers become optimized on a SKU level. So we would try to always optimize on a SKU. So some of these SKUs are understocked, some are overstocked. And that's why these numbers are like, we all had that issue at the beginning, right? Use it long enough and it'll balance it each other out. Now, let's say, I'm just going to increase the buffer here for the example. Let's say 50% buffer. Oh, so close. Yes. Let's say our forecast says in the next 38 days, I need in the next 45 days, I need 38,000 units. At FBA, I only have 36,000, but Amazon has a restock limit of, let's say, 35,000 right now, and I can't send in any, right? And it totally sucks. It's like, okay, so what am I going to do? Is there a different strategy that I can do? So what we would then do is we would actually group them into our parentage. And if you have a parentage that is, for example, just a color variation, where you think that you can shift one customer who normally buys, let's say, the red one to buy a blue one. So if the red goes out of stock, not a big deal, he'll probably buy the blue one. If that is the case, then what you can do is you can determine, well, which parentage is fully in stock or not, and then decide which ones do you have to send in. So let's say they're all holiday gifts, right? If I look at this parentage, for example, totally fine, it's going to stay in stock. I need 780 and at FBA I have 3,000. So that parentage, I don't have to restock that one. It's totally fine. Halloween decorations, right? Next 45 days, I need 924. I have plenty at FBA. And you keep going down through your parentages to see, is there room in one of the parentage where I could fill it up that way? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
I bet holiday gifts is a place. I think I bet even without the buffer,
if we just do holiday,
yeah. And so let's say you can only send your restock limit is only allowing you to send in like 500 units, and you're like, rather than send in like 10 of all of your SKUs, like Dave was just showing, you have some parentage that are going to be fine, they're going to stay in stock. But look at this parentage, your holiday gifts, you don't have enough at FBA. And so that's the parentage that you need to focus. Probably all 500 of those units are, rather than what you see other people doing or what Amazon would recommend. Just, I'll send in a good mix of all your SKUs. It's like, no, focus on the parentage that is in danger of going out of stock, because that's going to tank your ranking and you just can't have that.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, you guys. I think we have one very important question to answer, and that is, how do people get the sheet?
So it's super easy. I mean, it's on our website. I'm sure you can share the link, Amy, with everyone watching. So guys, it's absolutely free. It only works with Excel though. You can't use it on Google Sheets because the macros that we built in. So macros they're essentially macro applications. So Ryan and I during COVID, we watched a lot of YouTube and we taught ourselves how to code. It was really fun because we wanted to use the power of macros, and we put in the macros into the sheet to automate them. And that's why it only works with Excel, not Google Sheets. So go to our website. You can find it at davanstrategic.com.
I think I can get that up on the screen. There we go.
Here we go, davanstrategic.com. So go to that one, right? And then you can just literally download it for free right now. It's a free trial. So play with it, get a feel for it. And then once we get all the feedback and once we get a final version, then, we'll put up a sheet for sale in about 30, 45 days, something like that. Yeah. But it's a free trial going on now until December 16th. So enjoy it, guys.
Amazing.
I think you saw the nerd come out in us today. I think like who else would talk about Excel for an hour straight and still have some gas left in the tank, right?
We love it stuff.
Yeah, I love Excel too. I think it's really cool. I'm just so glad that you guys do the building part and I just get to do the part.
Yeah.
I don't like building. You see, that's what's different about me. I like creating, and then I don't like the calculating
building.
and execution part so much. But if you guys create it, then I actually like the calculating
Right.
and execution part because I like measuring things. So
Yeah.
I like ticking off to-do boxes. It makes me happy. So this sheet allows me to do a lot more ticking off to-do boxes and measuring, which makes me really happy. So thank you guys so much for.
Thank you,
Glad,
Amy.
Amy.
Yes, I love it. I'm so excited that I've gotten to be like a little tiny part of your journey and have seen you guys grow and share and, you know, amazing. And one shameless plug is that Ryan is coming to our Christmas party. Yeah, he's going to be there. So if you want to ask him a ton of nerdy questions, like hashtag, I need to find a scientist.
Bring it on.
Be there. You can meet Ryan. He's going to be at our holiday party. So you guys got to join us. Who's going to have
First
the
time in
audience?
Austin, Amy. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I've heard all good things of Austin. So
Austin
I'm
is so much
really-
fun. The weather's nice. Like we can rent scooters and ride around the city. We always do that. There's just great nightlife. And so, yeah, we'll see you guys at the holiday party. So head on over to Davan Strategic. 2 things to do today. Head on over to Davan Strategic and check out all the things that they have to offer. Join their Facebook group because it's awesome. I've shared this live video in their Facebook group, by the way, and and did it for you guys. And then, you know, join their Facebook group. They have a private group called Davan Strategic where they, you know, do Zoom meetings and share things with people all the time. And then also head over to sellermeetup.com and join us at December 14th at the holiday party that we're going to do. We'd love to see you there. Just come to Austin for the night, right? Fly in the morning if you're from outside of Austin and come. Our party starts at 7 p.m. and then you can leave the next day or you can hang out a few more days because there's so many great things to do in Austin. But those are your 2 action items today. And guys, any other way for them to contact you, reach out that you'd like to say, or we just.
That's
website.
basically it, guys. Facebook and yeah, Facebook, email. Just check out our website. You can read the whole fun story of how we made our $1 million in a week on the
Do we
website.
still have the dogs on our page?
We still have the
Go
dogs.
check out the dogs. Action
There are
item number
dogs.
3. Check out the dogs on our webpage.
We have dogs.
It is one of my favorite websites. It's so fun. So, and you know, we featured at Amazing at Home in our seller portraits. We featured these guys and their story before they exited. So, you know, go check that out as well. It's such an inspiring and fun story. So,
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for being part of our journey as well.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Like, wow, I've learned so much from you guys too. So it's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I know this was a long one, but it was worth it. And and we'll see you guys
like
at the
20
holiday
minutes.
party. And definitely we'll connect with you guys over some nerdery and sheets. So ask your questions. I'm sure David and Ryan, they're in all my groups and stuff. So I'm sure they'd be happy to follow up on any of your questions. And this video is going to hit YouTube today as well. So it's going to be awesome. All right, guys.
Oh, one
have
more
a great
thing.
day.
Amy, sorry, last thing. We made a YouTube video explanation of the sheet, which we'll launch today too.
Yeah, you'll find a link to it
On the
somewhere.
website.
We'll send you the link once we upload it. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
Cool.
All right,
Ciao,
thanks
guys. Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.